we are very much blessed. We have His Holiness Bhakti Prabhav SWAMI Maharaj, who will be speaking to us from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Maharaj has been so generous, so kind to us by being with us a few more times than we could have actually asked from him. And Maharaj, we truly and honestly appreciate your love for us and the wisdom that you've shared with us for all these days and months and years. And we hope to have more and more in the near future. So without much ado, we may put the verse on the screen, and Maharaj, you may take it over from here. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Omahyanatimanusya Tsanansalan Shlakya Sakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shigurve Nama Namo Vishnupadai Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paspachari Desatarani. Today we will be reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 7, scheduled in incarnation, text 38. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Narum Cheva Naruttamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat. Nastve Sabatrasu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavata Tamastake Bhakti Bhavti Naistake. I read first the verse in Sanskrit. Yar alaisyev vapisatam nare katasyo pasandinod vyajana vrisalan redeva svaha svada vasaiti smakyo nayatra Shasta bhavishyati kale bhagavan yugante. But for word translation, Yari, when it happens, ala Yesu, in the residence of Api, even, Satam, civilized gentleman, Na, no, Arehe, of the personality of Godhead, Kata, topics, Syu, will take place, Pasandina, atheist, Vichajana, persons declaring themselves to be the higher three classes, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, Vaishala, the lower class, Sudras, Redeva, ministers of government, Svaha, hymns to perform sacrifices, Svada, the ingredients to perform sacrifices, Vasat, the altar of sacrifice, Iti, all these, Sma, shall, Kiraha, words, Na, never, Yatra, anywhere, Shasta, the chastiser, Bhavishyati, will appear, Kali, of the Kali age, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Yuga Ante, at the end of translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yuga, where there exist no topics on the subject of God, even at the residences of so-called saints and respectable gentlemen of the three higher castes, and when the power of government is transferred to the hands of ministers elected from the low-born Sudra class or those less than them, and when nothing is known of the techniques of sacrifice, even by word, at that time the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser. Purport. The symptoms of the worst conditions of the material world at the last stage of this age, called Kali Yuga, are stated herein. The sum and substance of such condition is godlessness. Even the so-called saints and higher castes of the social orders generally known as the Dvija Janas or the twice-born, will become atheists. As such, all of them will practically forget even the holy name of the Lord. What to speak of his activities, the higher caste of society, namely the intelligent class of men, guiding the destinies of the social orders, the administrative class of man, guiding the law and order of the society, and the productive class of man, guiding the economic development of the society, must all be properly well versed in the knowledge of the Supreme Lord, knowing factually his name, quality, pastimes, entourage, paraphernalia, and personalities. The saints and higher castes or orders of the society are judged by their proportion of knowledge in the science of God, or Tattvagyan, and not by any kind of birthright or body designations. Such designations without any knowledge of the science of God and practical knowledge of devotional service are considered to be all decorations of dead bodies. And when there is too much inflation of these decorated dead bodies in society, there develop so many anomalies in the progressive, peaceful life of the human being because of the lack of training or culture in the upper section of the social orders. They are no more to be designated as the Dvija Janas or the twice-born. The significance of being twice-born has been explained in many places in these great literatures. And again, one is reminded herewith that birth executed by the sex life of the father and the mother is called animal birth. But such animal birth and progress of life on animal principles of eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating without any scientific culture of spiritual life is called the Sudra life, or to be more explicit, the uncultured life of the lower class of men. It is stated herein that the governmental power of society in the Kali Yuga will be passed over to the uncultured, godless laborer classes of men, and thus the Nirdevas, or the ministers of the government, will be Vrishalas, or the uncultured lower class men of society. No one can expect any peace and property in a human society full of uncultured lower class of men. The symptoms of such uncultured social animals are always in vogue, and it is the duty of the leaders of men to take note of it and try to reform the social order by introducing the principles of twice-born men trained in the science of God consciousness. This can be done by expanding the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. In the degraded condition of human society, the Lord incarnates as the Kalki avatar and kills all the demonic without mercy. I read the translation again. Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yuga, when there exist no topics on the subject of God, even at the residence of so-called saints and respectful gentlemen of the three castes, and when the power of government is transferred to the hands of ministers elected from the low or Sudra class, or those less than them, and when there is nothing, when nothing is known of the techniques of sacrifice, even by word, at that time, the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser. Now, this is about appearance of Kalki avatar, and he will appear because of the degraded situation, the degraded population at the end of the age of Kali. But that is described in much more detail in the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam. There the symptoms of Kali Yuga are described in 1, 2, 2 to 16. And I will just read first the symptoms of the age of Kali. In Kali Yuga, wealth alone will be considered the sign of a man's good birth. proper behavior, and fine qualities. And law and justice will be applied only on the basis of one's power of finances. Men and women will live together merely because of superficial attraction, and success in business will depend on the seed. Womanliness and manliness will be judged according to one's expertise in sex, and a man will be known as a Brahmin just by wearing a thread. And further, a person's spiritual position will be ascertained merely according to external symbols, and on that same basis, people will change from one spiritual order to the next. A person's propriety will be seriously questioned if he does not earn a good living. And one who is very clever at juggling words will be considered a learned scholar. A person will be judged unholy if he does not have money, and hypocrisy will be accepted as virtue. Marriage will be arranged simply by verbal agreement, and a person will think he is fit to appear in public if he has merely taken a bath. A sacred place will be taken to consist of no more than a reservoir of water located at a distance, and beauty will be thought to depend on one's hairstyle. Filling the body will become the goal of life, and one who is audacious will be accepted as truthful. One who can maintain a family will be regarded as an expert man, and the principles of religion will be observed only for the sake of reputation. As the earth thus becomes crowded with a corrupt population, whoever among any of the social classes shows himself to be the strongest will gain political power. Losing their wives and properties to such avaricious and merciless rulers who will behave no better than ordinary thieves, the citizens will flee to the mountains and forests. Harassed by famine and excessive taxes, people will resort to eating leaves, roots, flesh, wild honey, fruits, flowers, and seeds. Struck by drought, they will become completely ruined. The citizens will suffer great from cold, wind, heat, rain, and snow. They will be further tormented by quarrels, hunger, thirst, disease, and severe anxiety. The maximum duration of life for human beings in Kali Yuga will become 50 years. And then the last verses. By the time the age of Kali ends, the bodies of all creatures will be greatly reduced in size, and the religious principles of followers of Varnashram will be ruined. The path of the Vedas will be completely forgotten in human society, and so-called religion will be mostly atheistic. The kings will mostly be thieves. The occupations of men will be stealing, lying, and needless violence, and all the social classes will be reduced to the lowest level of Sudras. Cows will be like goats. Spiritual hermitages will be no different from mundane houses, and family ties will extend no further than the immediate bonds of marriage. Most plants and herbs will be tiny, and all trees will appear like dwarf Sami trees. Clouds will be full of lightning. Homes will be devoid of piety, and all human beings will have become like asses. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear on earth, acting with the power of pure spiritual goodness. He will rescue eternal religion. So the last paragraph of this purport, Srila Prabhupada, there the PBT purport mentions. These verses vividly describe many unsavory symptoms of the age of Kali. Ultimately, at the end of this age, Lord Krishna will descend as Kalki and remove the thoroughly demonic persons from the earth. And then in 12 to 18, the appearance of Kalki is announced. Lord Kalki will appear in the house of the most eminent Brahman of Sambala village, the great soul Vishnu Yasa. And in the next verses, Lord Kalki, the Lord of the universe, will mount a swift horse, Devadatta, sword in hand, travel over the earth, exhibiting his 8 mystic opulences and 8 special qualities of Godhead, displaying his unequaled effulgence and riding with great speed. He will kill by the millions those thieves who have dared dress as kings. So there we can read this purport on 9020. If you can go down a little, you can see the purport. These verses describe the thrilling pastimes of Kalki. Anyone would be attracted by the sight of a powerful, beautiful man riding on a wonderful horse at lightning speed, chastising and devastating cruel demonic people with the sword in hand. Of course, fanatical materialists may argue that this picture of Kalki is a mere anthropomorphic creation of the human mind, a mythological deity created by people who need to believe in some superior being. But this argument is not logical, nor does it prove anything. It is merely the opinion of certain people. We need water, but that does not mean man creates water. We also need food, oxygen, and many other things that we do not create. Since our general experience is that our needs correspond to available objects existing in the external world, that we appear to need a supreme Lord would tend to indicate that in fact there is a supreme Lord. In other words, nature endows us with a sense of need for things that actually exist and that are in fact necessary for our well-being. Similarly, we experience a need for God because we are in fact a part of God and cannot live without him. At the end of Kali Yuga, the same God will appear as the mighty Kalki avatar and beat the pollution out of the demons. So, in the next verse, when the Supreme Lord has appeared on earth as Kalki, the maintainer of religion, Satya Yuga will begin, and human society will bring forth progeny in the mode of goodness. So once Prabhupada was reading and telling about all these symptoms at the end of Kali Yuga, he was reading to Allen Ginsberg. And so Allen Ginsberg then, he asked Prabhupada, and what with your disciples? At the end of Kali Yuga, will they still be around? And Prabhupada replied, my disciples, they will go back in this lifetime. That's what he said to Allen Ginsberg. So that's encouraging for us. But yes, in the purport, we have read here that the so-called Brahmins in Kali Yuga have no knowledge of Brahman. That is interesting. And that we see that today, Prabhupada in his teachings, he protests very, very strongly against so-called Brahmins, those who say that they are born in a Brahmin family, but don't have Brahminical qualities. Tvitya bandhus, no knowledge of Brahman, and they call themselves pastimes. So we will see, we have heard in this description that at the end of Kali Yuga, all the knowledge of the Vedas will be forgotten. and they will practice religion only for their own prestige. But what is the solution to our material entanglement is to understand Krishna and the pastimes of Krishna. And therefore we need to hear the Bhagavatam. But these Brahmins, they don't have a clue, have no knowledge of Brahman, and they don't understand the pastimes of the Lord. Therefore, at the end of the purport that we read today, Prabhupada makes it clear we should propagate the Bhagavatam all over the world. The reading of and discussing of the Bhagavatam, what we are doing now. Of course, Prabhupada says that, but also the Bhagavatam. That's the realization of Srila Vyasadeva. Yasyam vai Srinyavana vayam Krishna Parama Purushe Bhakti Utpatyate Pumsa Sukamo Abhayapaha. Just by giving all reception to this Vedic literature, hearing, the feeling of loving devotional service for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at once extinguishes the fire of conditioned life. It extinguishes lamentation, illusion, and fear. So by giving our reception, we become attracted to Krishna. We become attracted to hearing from him. And Krishna, what does Krishna do when he sees that we are attracted to hearing about him? Shimvatas vakata Krishna punyashravna kirtnarityantatoya bhatani vidanosutsitam. Sri Krishna, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of his truthful devotees, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of a devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So it's the properly hearing and chanting that purifies our heart. And these Brahmins in Kali Yuga have no knowledge of it. And that's therefore that, because when we hear about Krishna and his pastime, Krishna becomes pleased and helps us to purify our heart. If we chant the holy name of the Lord and his pastimes are the same, then we become purified. When we hear about the Lord from Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord, and within our heart, removes the lust from our heart. Because this lust is like a big fire, which keeps us away from self-realization. Because of unqualified Brahmins, it becomes, nobody discusses anymore the topics of the Lord. And that is essential to make spiritual advancement. Machita machata prana bodhayan daspraspram kartyan samamnityam tushanti sharamantisha. That this is the life of a devotee, relishing, hearing, and speaking about the Lord. And that brings spiritual ecstasy. And then Krishna, when he sees that we want to serve him with love, Tadami Buddhyugamtam, he changes our heart, purifies our heart. So the same thing if you chant the holy name, then and with faith, with the faith that the holy name is equal to Krishna, identical to Krishna, and identical to his pastimes. So then if Srila Prabhupada said, if you chant the holy name, and you have the faith that the holy name is Krishna, that they are identical, one is a pure devotee, he says. So the holy name is as powerful as Krishna. In Shikshastakam verse 2, the Lord has put all his potencies in the holy name. And the holy name does not depend on any ritual to be successful. Therefore, it is the process for Kali Yuga. But if Brahmins do not have knowledge of Krishna and the holy name, then there is no way to make spiritual advancement. But the holy name is the process for Kali Yuga. It's not dependent on any ritual. It does not depend on anything, but it is in the scripture also said if one receives the holy name to the Guru Parampara from a bona fide spiritual master, the holy name becomes much more powerful. It's already unlimited powerful, but the power becomes manifest. That the effects of the holy name come more easily. So this relationship of Krishna and his devotees, they are imbued with prema. And by hearing the qualities and pastimes of Krishna, our love for Krishna is awakened. So that eternal love of the Lord is already in our heart. But that is just to be awakened by Shravana, hearing the Bhagavatam about Krishna. So we should try to enter deeply in these topics. Then our material lust will go away, because that is the highest duty, to come to pure devotional service. The highest love for Krishna is exhibited by the gopis in Vrindavan. So, yes, but then we have now Kali Yuga is progressing. But when you read this, we have heard these main characteristic symptoms of Kali Yuga, especially at the end of Kali Yuga. So we are now 5,000 years in Kali Yuga. And you see that so many of these characteristics are already true now to some extent. What will it be? What will it be at the end of Kali Yuga? Horrible. So yes, if at the end of Kali Yuga, no preaching anymore. But when Kali Yuga, when Kalki comes, Kalki avatar comes, there's no preaching. With his sword, he kills them all, and they become purified by his killing. And then a new Satya Yuga comes. When Srila Prabhupada was in Amsterdam, he gave a lecture on the Dam, and the Dam is a place in Amsterdam where, especially in the 60s, 70s, there were many hippies. And Prabhupada was giving a lecture, but some of these hippies constantly disturbed the lecture. And Prabhupada stopped and said, preaching is not possible here. Just give them prasad. That was not possible. That was in Amsterdam. But yes, but this lust is the king of Kali Yuga. We are all bewildered by this lust. Lust means it's the destroyer of self-realization. Krishna says in 3:30, self-realization means surrender all your works to me and do your duty without any sense of proprietorship, without any sense of being the enjoyer, and without lethargy, you do your duty, just to please Krishna, without thinking you are the proprietor or the enjoyer, because Krishna is the proprietor and enjoyer. But then Krishna says in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there are 2 obstacles, paripantino, raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. That was, Arjuna immediately recognized that I'm attached to Bhishma Dev and I'm averse to killing him. So, well, what is that? Why? He says to Krishna, I have so many attachments and aversions, I cannot overcome that. There's a power greater than me, but this is power. What causes this attachment and aversion? And Krishna says it's lust, Arjuna. Lust is enemy number 1. Kama, Isha, Krodha, Isha, Rajagun, Samutma, Masama, Patna, Vityam, Iyavayam. It's the enemy number 1. Because avitam jnanam etina jnanina, this avitam jnanam etina jnaninas, this nitya varina. So this lust covers your intelligence, your spiritual intelligence, and it makes you identify with the body through this attachment and aversion. So it's a destroyer of self-realization. And the cure is hearing about Krishna. Sukadev, Maharaj Parikshit will mention that to Sukadev Goswami at the beginning of the 10th canto. Nirvrita Tarsaya Pariyamanas Pavalstrakshotra Manobhiramat. He said, unless you are free from this lust, you cannot understand Krishna. To understand Krishna, Pavalsadak, you must name a medicine. Pavalstrakshotra Manobhiramat, the medicine of hearing about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and so on. Unless we take that medicine, this lust will remain our greatest enemy, and we will not be purified from this lust. Remember, 5-6 years ago, I was with Chaya Advaita Maharaj at the Kobleva Odessa festival in Ukraine, and he spoke about this same verse. And then a devotee raised his hand and he said, "Yes, I'm hearing the Bhagavatam, but still, I've still lust." And Shadvaita Maharaj said, Bhaval Sadak. Bhaval Sadak means the medicine of hearing. You should take the medicine of hearing. If you have still lust, increase the dose, hear more. That I found it an interesting point. Because in Kali Yuga, because the sages of Namasaranya, Sutta Goswami in the beginning of the Bhagavatam says, Prayanal Purisa Sabya Kalabas Michiredi Sanama Manasmanda Mati Mandabaki Upaditra. And it lists symptoms of the people of Kali Yuga. They are short-sighted. Short-sighted, that comes when one is influenced by lust. One sees only the moment of enjoyment and forgets the bigger picture. There's no think where I come from, where I'm going. No, that there's no thinking, if I do this sinful activity, I'm going to suffer for it. And I got this body now, I'm suffering because of my past deeds. No knowledge, only short-sighted. And and lazy. They are not lazy in terms of sense gratification. They are lazy in everything concerning self-realization. No interest. and always upadutta, always disturbed. That's a symptom of the people in Kali Yuga. Everyone is constantly in anxiety, that always disturbed. They do not see the bigger picture. That, but yes, there's that easy process for Kali Yuga, chanting of the holy name, but at the end, it will not be there anymore. They will prosecute, if there are not any devotees left, they will prosecute them, try to eat them. So better not to be there at the end of Kali Yuga. That, but if we look at today's culture, Prabhupada makes it clear, and it's shocking. Today's culture is an animal culture. They are sudras. Because no one is trained in God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. That I see that here I'm in Belgium, here in Flanders, and we have, like 50 years ago, in my youth, the Catholic Church was very powerful. Very powerful. But then gradually all practice, religious practice, started to dwindle. Generation after generation, I've seen it. And today they are completely rejected. They're rejecting the Christian church. That there's so many symptoms. They are vilifying any form of religious traditions, that it becomes all secular state dharma. That, but Krishna consciousness means real dharma. It deals with our transcendental relationship with Krishna, which is inconceivable. Because science is now the almighty logic. But science deals with sense perception. But what beyond it, sense perception, many things are beyond our sense perception. Real Dharma deals with the inconceivable, which is beyond our sense perception. And the only way to get that information is the Vedas. Are full of sages who are beyond sense perception. But at the end of Kali Yuga, it's time to clean up. There are no devotees anymore. The Vedas are forgotten, all useless. So that by the mercy of Kalki, they will all be alienated. And by that, they become free from their sinful reactions. That and a new Satya Yuga starts with a few remaining devotees. A new Satya Yuga. So that Kalki is an avatar which did not yet appear, and is mentioned in the Vedas, in the Bhagavatam. That also Buddha was predicted before he appeared by the Bhagavatam. The Kalki appears with the purpose to annihilate completely the sinful people of Kali Yuga at the end of this age. Thank you very much. Any comments, questions?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for sharing with us your love and the wisdom. And I mean, the references you made from Canto 12, Chapter 2, from 6 downwards. They're very damning, and we hope none of us will be here around those days. So, dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, realizations, please, you may unmute and go ahead and speak. Shubhavanath Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Bhavana.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my dear Dhamma. Maharaj, thank you. Thank you so much. You dealt with this local very nicely. And before I ask my question, I want to say compliment of the season to you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, you have emphasized on hearing Bhagavatam, which we are aware of that Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. Hearing Bhagavatam is more like hearing, being close or hearing Krishna in itself. But there is a saying that God is one, though He has many names. So we look at the globe today. There are different religions, and they are all hearing from different scriptures. And what are they hearing? They are hearing about God, or they are hearing about God in different scriptures also. But at the same time, if we look at the world today, the violence and conflict, it has really gone extreme. Really, there is no place in the world that you will figure out that is peaceful. It's all filled with violence upon violence. So what do we learn from this? Does it mean that God is no longer reciprocating through His name or through the scripture?
Thank you for your questions. That one thing I observed, and it's also the observation of many scholars who look at religion, that especially in the Islam countries, also in other countries, but like I said, I observed that also in Flanders, that the religious practice go down, and atheism comes on the foreground, and that is a global observation, that people are losing interest in religion, and that is certainly one of the reasons why there are more conflicts and so on. That because I'm always remember Prabhupada that he said, when you are a Christian or Muslim, that's follow your scriptures, follow it. Be a good Christian. Follow the 10 Commandments, follow them all. But that's not there anymore today. It's going backwards very quickly. And that can be certainly one of the reasons, because Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he speaks about different kinds of transcendentalists. Brahman, those who want to become one with Brahman, the Jnanis, or the yogis. Some wants also to become one with Brahman, others go for super soul realization, Paramatma realization, but which is very rare. But Krishna speaks on the level of each of these transcendentalists, that he could have made Bhagavad Gita very short, and all this all these things about jnanis, karma yoga, jnana yoga. It could have gone straight to bhakti yoga, and it would have been a small Bhagavad Gita, and we got to have the essence also. But he wants to encourage also those who do not believe in him, but who think that the absolute is Brahman. He wants also them to make spiritual advancement, because it is a stage of coming to bhakti. So religious practice you have on different stages. And yes, and life after life, they come probably to a higher truth. That Prabhupada SWAMI says the process of bhakti. Process of bhakti goes over many lifetimes. Prabhupada also many times said, you are a devotee because you were a devotee in previous lives. But that progression to make progress in your own tradition, when that goes backwards, then it creates conflicts and horrible situations, because I and mine becomes more on the foreground, and that is Kali Yuga. With a small thing, they start to fight. That and if you forget your religious practice, then that comes on the foreground, and we see that is happening all over the world, and it's not a good sign. Although many at the other side who go to serious trouble, they become very serious then. That we see also, but that's more a minority. So that's my observation, Tribhuvanatha Prabhu. Does that
Thank you,
help?
Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you. There's something else?
Anyone else with something to ask? Share? Maharaj, I've been having this question. I don't know exactly how to put it, but if I told Mr. A that tomorrow, if you add oil and water together, the oil will stay on top of the water. And Mr. A does that tomorrow. Obviously, when Mr. A mixes water and oil, the water is going to stay afloat, going to stay on top of the water. Why? Because that is how nature has designed the mixture of water and oil. Now, we are hearing about these damning symptoms of Kali Yuga, of which, like you rightly said, we're experiencing bits and pieces of them all now. Can we therefore say that by nature's plan, Kali Yuga is originally designed for human beings to go through this suffering? And if that is the case, then how can we blame human beings for not doing right things? Because we've been pre-programmed to not take interest in Krishna consciousness. If someone comes up with this argument, what would be the appropriate response to such an argument?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is true that because of our past, we take in this birth, in this Kali Yuga, that because of our past sinful activities, it doesn't happen by chance. That is not true. It's not pre-programmed. We have programmed ourselves by our previous sinful activities. And therefore we come in this sinful age. And like I can imagine, because I'm coming from a sinful background, that all Western culture means sinful background. And of course, I'm 30, 40 years, 35 years a devotee now, trying to become a devotee. Hopefully the heart is changed a bit. But I can imagine if I would not have come a devotee, I would only have increased my reactions. And I have to take birth again in Kali Yuga, and it becomes worse, worse, and worse. And probably I won't have much human forms anymore. Quickly to the animal life, and I would be slaughtered. I maybe become a cow and slaughtered in Kali Yuga later on. But we are causing it ourselves. And that's the bigger picture. The bigger picture is there. And yes, this Kali Yuga is meant for those who are very sinful to get their reactions. That in previous ages, there was, even in Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga, there were no such sinful activities. We have but Maharaj Pariksit was surprised to find someone in his kingdom who was dressed as a king and who was interested in gold and women. That was unheard of. But now everyone is interested in money and sex in this world. That is their logo. So there are many of this type of people that but in former ages that was not there. But those who want this sinful life, they have to get reactions, and therefore Kali Yuga is there for them. But we try to become devotees, and we don't belong here. And Prabhupada said to Alan Ginsberg, yes, they will not be there anymore, and that is our great hope, that we can get out of here as soon as possible. Does that help?
Yes. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me that because of the karmic reactions of individuals, we can tell what the future is going to be like. So
yeah. And it's not good.
Yes,
They are killing each other by the thousand days, and that will have its reactions.
Yeah,
that it's not good. But we pray to Krishna to protect us always, and Krishna protects usually his devotees, at least always spiritual, and even if some adverse thing happens from our perception, is still Krishna's mercy to bring us to another place or whatever. That Krishna's protection is always there for his devotees. Nami Bhakti Apranashati. My devotee will never perish. That's our great hope.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Anyone else with something to share or speak on? Mitravinda Devi, please, you may unmute.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please my obeisance is always to Prabhupada.
My obeisance to Prabhupada.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for being here. I wanted to bring up the topic of when we are sharing with others who do not perhaps consider themselves devotees yet. They have not heard the holy names of Krishna, and they have not heard God's name in the form of Krishna. How can we understand, that we're not our bodies, but also that every living entity has been brought here by Krishna's mercy? So thereby, would it not be correct that we could have more mercy and compassion and be better involved in our services to understand that, that the latent or dormant aspects of knowing that they are devotees is not there yet, and that when we provide that information, compassionately. We don't have to see them as other.
Yeah, that I'm not sure if I understand your question rightly, but it seemed to me a bit the vision of the Uttam Adhikar. The Uttam Adhikar sees everyone as a devotee. They may their Krishna consciousness may still be dormant, but it can be awakened. That and a devotee is very compassionate and therefore wants to spread Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada speaks in the purport of the 5th chapter of the first canto about the urgency to spread the Bhagavatam and to spread Krishna consciousness. And yes, it's a great task for us to help everyone and not to see them as non-devotees or demons, but rather see them as factory devotees, but they don't know yet. That so in that way, our compassion in our heart will develop. Thank you for bringing that up.
Oh no, thank you so much, Maharaj, because your answer has sparked something else in me. The Uttam Adhikari is so high level, and it's not to mimic, but for us to get to that level to see less division in essence than in action, and then we can perhaps share in a way that has more love.
Yeah, that is a position of the Madhyam Adhikar. He knows these things. He has great knowledge and knows that everyone is factually a devotee. That and therefore devotees sometimes take risk and they try to preach even to those who are envious. That and yeah, that gives sometimes heavy reactions, but they want to be merciful, and that is these are great souls like us.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Maharaj. And Mr. Vinay, we thank you for that question. Anyone else with something to share? Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Govinda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the devotees. Maharaj, my question is, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest are all places of miseries, where repeated birth and death take place. So we understand that those in Brahmaloka also go through suffering, just like we here in the Earth planet. But suffering is suffering. Like one goes to prison, there is an advanced prison that the head of states and its ministers, when they are offended by the law, the state laws, they go there. They consider prisoners, but they have very good facilities for living in such prisons. And so those in the heaven planet, they are also just like us, just like they have good facilities for their material enjoyment. And now my question is, we speak of Kali Yoga. Does the Kali Yoga affect those also in the heaven planet? Or they are all considered material world?
That my understanding is, and that's also in the Bhagavatam somewhere, the earthly planets are the planets did where karma, where one can make karma or get rid of his karma, purified. The human form is very special. That and this Kali Yuga, these 4 yugas, they have especially their effect on the earthly planets. Not so much on the heavenly planets; they are not affected by it, but especially the earthly planets. That, but on the heavenly planets they have better facilities. That's true. But these facilities are they are stronger prison walls, more difficult to get out of it. That because the sense enjoyment is the opportunities for sense enjoyment are 1,000 times more stronger than here. So you cannot get out of the sense enjoyment. Or on earthly planets, things are more balanced. You have happiness and you have suffering, both. In Kali Yuga, there will be more suffering. In Satya Yuga, there will be less suffering, but there is always happiness and distress. Dukhalayam Ashashvatam, happiness and distress on all this, in all places. But that's the difference. This 4 yugas that this is the time calculation also on the earth. We know that I think it's 4.5 million years is a cycle of 4 yugas. That I think Kali Yuga is 500. I don't know. I forgot 420 years, 425 years, 425,000 years. And Dwapara Yuga was a double. That's about 800,000-900,000 years. And then we have the Tritra Yuga is again double. That's 1,600,000. And then Satya Yuga is 3,200,000. So, but these cycles are on the earth. You don't find this that because the calculation is in earthly years. You don't find them on the heavenly planets. That's another calculation, but you don't have these yugas there. Different. And in the hellish planets, the suffering is so intense that it cannot be worse. Anyway, but there is also enjoyment, but suffering also. I feel I have to live in the dark. Anyway, that's what I learned from the scripture where I've understood for what it is worth. An interesting question. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, I have a last question. I don't know if maybe someone else has to ask something. Otherwise, I have one last question.
Me? Yes.
Yeah, you may go ahead and ask.
Yeah, Maharaj, please. I also like to know, you learn from Srimad Bhagavatam about the birth of Prahlad Maharaj, that the demons and the demigods had a fight, and as a result of that fight, the demigods won. But they also realized that Kayadu, who was the wife of Hiranyakashipu, was pregnant. And they assumed that the child in the womb, as a son of Hiranyakashipu, might also be a powerful demon. And so they decided to kill him. And in order to kill him, they have to wait for a mother to give birth to that child. And so they tried to carry him away. And on the way going, Narada Muni met them and questioned them and advised them to release the mother because the child in the womb is a devotee. So my question is, after Narada Muni have to ask Kayadu to join him in his place until Kayadu delivered. So that means that Narada Muni had a place somewhere in the heavenly planet, obviously. So the question is, where is his kingdom located? Where is Narada Muni's place in the heaven realm?
Yeah, that's interesting. It must be in the heavenly realm. That I had the same question with Kashyapa Muni and Diti and Aditi. That because we remember that Bali Maharaj went to the heavenly planets. And all the demons took over the post of the demigods, and the demigods became invisible. So Bali Maharaj was in the heavenly planets. But still, Kashyapa Muni and Diti, they were in another place, in an ashram somewhere. It's not mentioned where. But I was also wondering, where is that? It must also been in the heavenly realm. But of course, in the heavens, we have Svargaloka or Indraloka. That's where Bali Maharaj came in. But there are also higher planetary systems than Shanaloka, Marloka, and Tapaloka, Satyaloka. That's it could be because Narada Muni is the son of Brahma. So his home is Satyaloka with Brahma, we can say. So it could be there, but it's certainly not in Svargaloka or Indraloka, because Bali Maharaj was there when, yeah, that's interesting. That's But he had his own ashram that's mentioned, that very instructed Kayadu and Prahlad. Prahlad was in the womb, but he blessed Prahlad. And Kayadu heard the Bhagavatam, but she could not hear with her attention. She was worried about her husband, and she did not really hear it. That's what I could say. I think Kusha Prabhu is also another point.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances. Maharaj. Yeah, I just want to comment on this because in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, Prabhupada was saying Sri Narada Muni could enter all these planets in both the material and spiritual affairs without restriction.
Without restriction.
So as much as the Almighty Lord is free also to move personally in any part of his creation. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto 631, Narada himself said, since then, by the grace of the Almighty Vishnu, I travel everywhere without restriction, both in the transcendental world and in the three divisions of the material world. This is because I am fixed in unbroken devotional service of the Lord. So that means, to my understanding, he has no particular planet. He keeps going everywhere he wants.
Yes, he's free. But at that time he was with Kayadu. Kayadu was like a heavenly body, we can say. That and yeah, because they wanted to take Kayadu to heaven, the demigod, so she could go to heaven. But Narada Muni must have brought them somewhere, but we don't know where. But I believe also, as you say, Narada Muni is sannyasi, and he can stay sometime in some place for a reason, but he's always traveling. He can go everywhere. That's true. Thank you, Kushapo. Great point.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. I was of the same opinion also, that Narada has no specific place. He's always on the move. So, with that being said, Maharaj, you talked so much about the position of a devotee. And just yesterday, we were talking about this same thing, that what constitutes a devotee, a Vaishnava. And what we were all reminded of is that a devotee is empathetic, not sympathetic. Therefore, a devotee is paradukaduki. And since today is our last day for getting together discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, and we're very much honored to have the presence of His Holiness Bhakti Prabhav Swami Maharaj with us, we have been able to recognize some devotional activities across the length and breadth of the African continent for this year, 2023. And there's been a little humble effort to recognize such devotees and express our appreciation, and also offer our prayers to the Parampara to help guide them and bless them more so they can do more. And therefore, there is a short video that we would like to present to the assembled devotees, and whoever may be listening somewhere else or who may be watching this tape later on, our little attempt to express our deepest appreciation to these devotees and seeking the blessings of the Parampara to help these devotees to do even more in the coming years. So with that being said, Maharaj, if you still have a couple more minutes with us, if you can still stay here with us and watch the video with us, and also directly here, bless these devotees so they can even do more. So, Hare Krishna. So devotees, we expect you to at least try and pay attention to this video, and maybe later on we can share something more. Hare Krishna. Oh, sorry. Let me do this.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, we thank you all for your patience to join in watching this truly heartfelt video of the various devotees and their sincere effort to spreading Krishna consciousness under all circumstances. Preaching in Africa, preaching in general is not easy, but more so in Africa, it's not so easy. But these devotees somehow or other perpetually keep going out and spreading Krishna consciousness. So Maharaj is here. Maharaj, we humbly are seeking your blessings that these devotees and many more devotees could do more in serving Srila Prabhupada and humanity at large. Hare Krishna. Thank you, all devotees.
Yeah. Thank you. I was surprised to see this presentation. So many places, so many devotees are endeavoring to spread Krishna consciousness in Africa. That and I pray to Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara to empower them, and so that the preaching can expand and expand in Africa during the next years to come. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. So with that, if we may ask the devotees, if any devotee wants to share something about the entire year, how experience in Krishna consciousness has been to us. But if that is going to take a little longer, because we don't want to keep Maharaj here for more than necessary, we will request that we all unmute and we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to Maharaj being here and blessing us with his love and wisdom. And after that, if we want to share something else, we need with that. So we will humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant the loudest Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation. Jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Yes.
His Holiness Bhakti Prabhava Swami Maharaj ki
Jai. Hare Hare Bol.